White County, back in the early 80s, our citizens gave us that control where we could do it without going to referendum. And we have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's one of the reasons that our tax rate is low, because we've got an advantage over localities to do that. We also urge the Commonwealth to meet its full funding obligations for mandated constitutional offices. Additionally, the state should examine jail issues, and Jim just spoke on that, including staffing, funding, construction, per diems, operational costs, and benefits. And the state is killing us all across the Commonwealth. I mean, you talk about the regional jails and local jails, they have taken money back from federal funds, and they have increased the cost to us on a local basis, and we're having to deal with it. And it's hit us this year, last year, but this year, and then again next year. It's hard for smaller localities to even take that additional cost that's coming from the local jails, and especially on the regional jails. The 2010 General Assembly included budget language transition to line of duty benefit in fiscal year 2012 from a fully state-funded program to one paid by local governments and state agencies. We as local governments, we did not support the creation of this state benefit, and they should not be required to pay for it. Also, due to the most recent and significant VRS local employee rates and future rate increases for teachers, VACo supports legislation allowing local governments to require current employees to pay a portion or the entire 5% employee contribution share. We also support, which I think this is very significant because I've heard this across the state of Virginia also, that the state should have a study examining the costs and the benefits of establishing a single health insurance plan or pool for all local and school employees, to include teachers in it. Because when you start looking at trying to get the counties and the school systems to come together, the first thing people talk about is insurance plan. Well, you said I've got counties employees that are benefited because their insurance plan is low cost, whereas you deal with schools and school teachers, their plans are higher cost. And that's very unfortunate that we got that situation in the state of Virginia. And that's something that should be looked at. We can't pool this together as having a state plan. Local governments east of I-95 are subject to the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act. And we are required to monitor the 5-year septic tank pump out provision in the act. And I'm going to tell you, in Isle of Wight County, that created a lot of uproar down in my area because we're not in the Chesapeake Bay area. But when it came out, everybody around in the community, all the farmers and all, said, "You're going to make me pump my septic tank out every 5 years? I don't have any trouble with it." But that, we had to go a step further with the mandate. The Act mandates that localities review the soil and water runoff control and water quality assessments prepared by all agricultural operations within their jurisdiction, and to take enforcement action when necessary. Both of these time-consuming functions should be done by the appropriate state agency, and it shouldn't have been passed down to the local governments that we have to do. State law also requires localities to assume the mandated cost to construct and maintain court facilities. If, in the sole opinion of the local circuit court, localities do not meet those requirements, the court can order to build a new courthouse without regard to the physical condition of the local government. While this mandate has been temporarily suspended by the General Assembly, it remains a threat of significant unplanned expenditures to all cities and counties. We're building a courthouse in Isle of Wight County. And I think, Mayor, y'all been dealing with some of the same issues. We put ours off for 10 years, and the courthouse has been described as the Taj Mahal that's being built. It came in half the price of what it was originally estimated at, but regardless, when you drive down the road and you see that in the whole county administration complex, and this multi-tower building is dominating over the rest of the buildings. But we were mandated by our judges to do this. And it's a huge courtroom facility. And it's hard to explain to the citizens that you have to build this. And I said, well, the judge is making us do it. And I said, I'm not going to sit in jail because they're going to hold me in contempt. And some county supervisors in the western part of the state are saying that's what they're going to do. We had one county that took the judges to court because they refused to pay it. Well, we know who won. It wasn't the county board of supervisors. So we're all dealing with this, and that's something that needs to be looked at, because when we're in the situation that we're in, and I know, Mayor, you're dealing with it firsthand. I mean, it's well, I told somebody 90. I was too low. 140 million. It's amazing.
It's consolidated, but it's all three quarters.
Well, you know, to me, that's something we should look on. That's a good regional aspect, because we got Franklin, Southampton, Isle of Wight, and Suffolk. We're all in the same circuit, and every one of us, we have our own major courthouse, because the city of Suffolk back less than 10 years ago built a major building. And so that made the judges feel like, well, you know, you got to do the same thing in Isle of Wight. And so it's not used all the time. You know, maybe they can rotate it and have courts, you know, early in the morning, and you know, night courts like some of the cities do, and rotate courtrooms. Just some idea. I'm getting on regionalism again. I like that topic, I really do. Jim also mentioned about the federal and state laws that govern elections and the voter registration process, but we as a local government have to assume all the costs. And that actually, when we were preparing the budget, our budget and finance director kind of did similar to what Franklin did, wiped out everything on the electoral board and with the elections and all, and I said, you can't cut that out, we won't be able to hold elections. So we had to put it back in. We didn't cut everything out, Jim. I picked up on that going through the process, but I do appreciate y'all today and your efforts and working here with this, because this is a monumental task that's in front of you. And we've talked about it, and we've talked about government reform. I'm glad to see we've got people that with the grassroots, and I do appreciate you allowing VACo and VML, us, to be involved in it and coming to the table to be able to talk to you and present some ideas, because there's a lot of ideas. And we can give you a lot of different information, but if you got any questions, I've got our staff here to try to answer.
Phil, I appreciate all the comments. We have a very ambitious name for this committee. You know, we're going to be able to push maybe 2 or 3 things going forward, not everything. But one of the things that I'm interested in, I'm from a city, is the various, I mean, the differences between cities, counties, towns, that maybe don't make any sense any longer, that we could actually, you know, deal with, and with, you know, commissions, the governor is very supportive of, and I think he's even mentioned that in his remarks to us. But if you've got some things like that that could come on the table that we could examine so we could report out on the 13th, that would be very helpful for us.
Yeah, and Mayor, I'll have our staff present that information to you and give you the backup information. I think a lot of it is to deal with the equal taxation problem, gets rid of the tax code of Virginia, and the members of the General Assembly do not want to touch that. I think, you know, from a personal perspective, and I've talked to different members of the leadership of the General Assembly and also the governor, I think one of the things that has to be looked at in Virginia, we need to have a tax code that meets the 21st century and beyond. We've got a tax code that's been developed in the early 70s, and it's been altered and it's been tinkered with over the years to try to meet the changing times. Unfortunately, the times have changed too fast for the tax code, and then the tax code is a burden, especially for counties and also for cities. So I think what we need to do is to revamp the entire tax code. I know that's not part of this commission, but I, you know, as president of VACo and being in leadership positions, I continue to encourage the leadership of the General Assembly and our governor to look at that aspect, and I have spoken with them individually.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Jim, thank you.